Hi, it's Tom with Biology Magnets. This video is over lesson 12B, the nitrogen cycle. And we'll start in the atmosphere with N2. Now this model shows two nitrogen atoms. They're actually triple bonded, but I can't show those with these models, but I just kind of put them together like that. The nitrogen that's in the atmosphere, N2, will be pulled into the soil or diffuses into the soil. And at that point, there are a couple of different types of bacteria. Rhizobium is one that exists in the root nodules of plants. And Azotobacter is another that just exists in the soil. And they take the N2 and they break it apart and add hydrogen to it to make NH3. And that NH3 is, I'm going to put the N2 back in the atmosphere so we can keep track of the processes. That NH3 is ammonia, and it can pick up another hydrogen and become the ammonium ion. And we call this process where nitrogen is pulled down and turned into ammonia or ammonium, we call that nitrogen fixation. And it's accomplished by bacteria in the soil. Now, this ammonia, once in the soil, combines with oxygen and will form NO2. The hydrogens come off and NO2 gets formed. And so that process, let me put the NH3 back. This process of going from ammonia to NO2, NO2 is called nitrite, by the way. That's called nitrification. And it's carried out by a bacterium called Nitrosomonas. Well, let's do it like that. And so the NH3 gets turned to NO2. And that's the first step of nitrification. The NO2 will combine with more oxygen in the soil and form NO3. And so let's put an NO3 molecule up here. There we go there. And that's another step of nitrification. It's accomplished by a bacterium among several called Nitrobacter. That's one of the bacteria that can do this. So we've got two steps of nitrification here. The nitrogen is pulled out of the atmosphere. It goes into the soil, it becomes ammonia, then nitrification. We form NO2, nitrite. Another step of nitrification, we have nitrate. And then this nitrate can be absorbed by plants. Put some plants up here. The nitrate gets absorbed by plants, and we call that assimilation. And the nitrate is used to make the organic molecules of plants. DNA and proteins need nitrogen in their structures, so that assimilation into plants. Of course, the plants can be eaten by animals, and that's how the animals get their nitrogen, from eating plants. So we don't have a full cycle yet. We can turn, or more bacteria can turn nitrate back into in the atmosphere. Pseudomonas is one of them that does that. And this process is called denitrification, where the oxygen is pulled, the Pseudomonas pulls the oxygen away to use the oxygen. It often happens in oxygen-poor soils. So the Pseudomonas needs to get oxygen from somewhere. It'll steal it from these nitrate molecules. And the nitrogen, the oxygen is used by the Pseudomonas. The nitrogen just goes back into the atmosphere as N2. So that completes the cycle and puts the nitrogen back in the atmosphere. Now, when these plants and animals die, their dead bodies have nitrogen in them, and that nitrogen will be converted back into ammonia, and that process is called ammonification. So the dead bodies of plants and animals in the soil, all the nitrogen compounds have chemical reactions turning back into ammonia, and so that can go back through the cycle. So this is a smaller cycle that just happens without the atmospheric component. You can also talk about, with this module, you can talk about fertilizers, their contribution to the cycle. You can talk about lightning. Lightning will turn into and fix it into the soil. And you can talk about factories, their burning of fossil fuels and such, putting nitrogen back into the atmosphere. So there's all kinds of different ways that you can go with this. But that's a basic nitrogen cycle. If you're looking for more information about this topic or other modules from Biology Magnets, go to biologymagnets.com.